We have Type 2 Production with another video. Shrek 2 gets darker the older you get. Okay, let's find out what we all missed. This is my third Shrek react.
I love Shrek 2. I used to fall asleep to that movie almost every night as a kid. I was like Will Smith from I Am Legend, where I could just quote.
Shrek 2 is the Prince Charming one, right? With the frog and Fiona marrying Shrek. I'm pretty sure that's Shrek 2.
Every line because of that. Yeah, going back and watching the film again with adult eyes, I just can't help but notice the horrible messaging of the movie.
I noticed right at the beginning, just like the first movie, the traditional European fairy tale story gets immediately subverted.
Yeah, they're not subtle about telling you that that's going to happen. I mean, the first movie begins with the fairy tale story being used as toilet paper, and this one's not too much different.
But it's even funnier considering that a lot of classic European fairy tales are built on teaching morality and giving warnings. Examples that come to mind are Little Red Riding Hood and the message of beware of strangers,
of course,
or the Three Little Pigs and the message of be prepared.
Yep.
Stuff like beware of strangers just can't fly today, and we've got to shut down that kind of messaging.
Oh, right. Like,
which I think is crazy because if we can't acknowledge that different cultures, you know, some of them don't fucking mix, what are we really doing? Yes, some people's cultures don't blend in with others. It's like being gay and going to Palestine. You're going to get fucking executed. But everybody wants to say, drop your guard, accept everybody. And this is what happens when libs write a fucking movie. And it sucks because you will love Shrek until you realize the brainwash is actually pushing on you.
Every kid's movie that's made now has the exact opposite message. Accept everyone. Be wary of no one. They're all good.
Give your life so that the out-group can succeed. And there are things behind the scenes that kind of co-sign this. Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, the screenwriters and co-producers of the first film, insisted that the sequel would be a more traditional fairy tale. But after disagreements with the producers, they left the project and were replaced by Andrew Adamson. And really the main culprit, the executive producer, Jeffrey Katzenberg, wanted to make the movies edgier, less PG, and more adult. And he already had a history of this in the past with Toy Story. He was the guy that was pushing for Woody to be more evil in the first Toy Story and almost got it shut down.
Woody being more evil does actually sounds like just a retarded idea, though.
Explains a lot of the decisions that were made in Shrek 2, because Prince Charming goes on the traditional hero's journey to find the princess, only to be met by a cross-dressing furry, so like immediately we're off to a bad start. It's almost like there's this deliberate attempt to subvert Western values, tradition, and culture through soft power.
They did
but
that,
we all know media would never do that. But I think all this is evidenced by the fact that Shrek goes on pretty much the opposite of the hero's journey. Like, he goes to far, far away only to discover that he's perfect just the way that he is, and he essentially goes on the same arc that he had in the first movie. He doesn't grow morally or learn a valuable truth. He simply gets reassured and affirmed by the people around him that he's enough even as an ogre. And if anything, to me, this movie warns against growth or self-improvement of any kind.
The first major point I want to look at is that one of the film's core messages is be yourself. Now, the problem with this message is it lacks any sort of nuance.
It sounds very nice in nature, but I believe that people should become aware of the flaws they have and work on those flaws rather than blindly accept who they have been conditioned or groomed to be and say, I'm perfect, and if you don't like me, then you're the problem. That's just not how things work. Find what issues you have, work on them, and become the best version of yourself you can be, right? And that, to me, is a much better message than just, anybody who doesn't accept me for the piece of shit I am is actually the real problem.
And an issue is that the film conflates who you are with how you look.
Right. Fiona is not happy because Shrek, quote, is acting like an ogre. Those are Fiona's words. So what does Shrek do? Oh, she must think I'm ugly. It's like, what? Hold up. There's a bit of a disconnect here.
She's upset about my behavior. Let me get a makeover.
And that's, in essence, the be your...
Hey, that's what women do to save their careers. Oh, I have a shit personality. Don't worry, I'll get $50,000 worth of plastic surgery.
...self message of the movie.
And then I'll degrade myself on the internet for money. Yeah, respectable. Love women in 2026.
Even when Shrek is magically transformed physically, he still acts the same as an ogre. And this also goes for Fiona and Donkey. They physically change throughout the film, but their behavior remains the same.
Well, and Donkey even remarks that that's true. I mean, watch this clip.
You are a lot easier on the eyes. But inside, you're still the same old mean, salty, cantankerous, stanky, foul, angry ogre you always been.
And you're still the same annoying donkey.
Yeah.
And speaking of behaviors, in the real world, if a majority of members of certain groups consistently display poor behavior, should they not stop being themselves and actually improve? Is that not reasonable? The movie's clearly trying to stress the importance of self-acceptance, yet we see it's very selective of when it's appropriate to do so. I have two examples here that are basically the inverse of each other. You have King Harold, who greatly improved his lot in life and got the girl of his dreams by not being himself. Instead of showing us how he should have embraced his true frog self, he gets to have his cake and eat it too, because he's still accepted by his wife and his kingdom as a frog.
What's incredible too is whenever the villagers of Far Far Away see this, they don't immediately exile him and banish him for the bamboozling that he pulled on all of them.
But contrast that with Fiona. Her true self is human, yet the movie treats it as a good thing that she abandons that core identity to become an ogre. And
yeah, I never understand why Fiona had to embrace her curse rather than just fixing it. Like, I don't know why it's more empowering that she lives her life as like a fucking Latina slam pig. You know what I mean? Like a mid-30s slam pig. I just don't get it.
It's really funny when you consider that her becoming an ogre is literally a curse that was thrust onto her against her will, and yet it's treated as a good thing that she embraces this new identity. I think the surface level interpretation of what this movie has to say about beauty is kind of the classic principle of beauty's only skin deep, but it completely undercuts that message by the characters' actions we see in the movie, and it kind of makes me think that they're just trying to subconsciously attack conventional beauty standards. I'm noticing a trend here. It's a good thing.
It's not even conventional beauty standards. It's like body positivity, or not body positivity, but like the ability to work on yourself. You know what I mean? Like to get in the gym, to like be in shape. And I think that's very important to talk about, because like if you don't stress the importance of being in shape and losing weight, you're leading people down a road of infertility and shortened lifespan. And if you don't think our government is intentionally doing that by pushing these agendas, I don't know what to tell you. Like everything, and to be honest, I think it's all propaganda pushed from China. Because nuclear warfare, oh my God, there's a crazy like tinfoil hat fucking theory that I have that I'll probably make a fucking IRL video about. I genuinely feel that like China is pushing propaganda onto United States citizens to like think it's good to be transgender, because then it'll reduce us from having kids. Make body positivity, being fat, actually a good thing, because then it reduces the lifespan of our citizens, as well as reduces the birth rate. And then we have the government, which I believe is pushing dual income households and being a boss bitch as actually a good thing. That way they can double tax households and make sure that our children are raised by the government and our public school systems to make them all work in factors, and make them also fall into the same indoctrination that is pushed rampantly in public schools, where we're being attacked by China and our own government out of greed and money, as well as other countries attempting to reduce our population and get our birth rate in decline, just like every other first world country. Anyways, that's, oh yeah, and BLM is just completely just to add more dissent into our people as well. But that's for another time. That's for another time. China, I believe you mispronounced the Jews. Either one. Either one,
from
who knows?
white to green, but not green to white.
But
I'm not completely Jew-pilled, but I am pretty China-pilled.
what's funny is we don't apply that same logic consistently. What about Prince Charming? I mean, he was promised Fiona and the kingdom if he upheld his end of the bargain by saving Fiona, which he tried to do.
He tried, and he did very successfully.
Until he discovered that Shrek had taken her away.
Yep.
And from what we know, he grew up fatherless and with a controlling mother. Yet whenever he's understandably a bit immature, it's not okay for him to be himself.
Well, isn't that crazy messaging that Charming's a bad guy because he's a little vain and self-absorbed, yet Shrek treats Far Far Away like he's playing Grand Theft Auto, and they all treat him like it's no big deal. He demonstrates multiple times he only cares about the well-being of himself and Fiona, yet the story still treats him like a hero for it, while Charming is this villain simply because he wanted what he was promised.
Also take
I'll squeeze the jelly from your eyes!
into consideration that King Harold's entire arc in this film is used to subtly reinforce the idea that we're all outsiders, and that disapproving of outsiders is not only bigotry but projection. Because after all, Far Far Away is just a collection of ideas. It's just a melting pot.
Oh, where have I heard that term before?
Finding out that
Yep.
he's actually a frog turned into the king via fairy godmother's potions makes his disapproval of Shrek very akin to the common leftist attack of you only hate gays because you're gay, which is hilarious because they don't.
There it is, bro. You're all secretly gay. That's why you don't like gay people. Yeah, yeah. Or we just don't mind gay people besides the one who go after our children and show their genitals to them. I think the majority of them just don't give a fuck about gay people as long as they just do that shit behind closed doors. Nobody gives a fuck about that. We just want them to stop indoctrinating our children and sexually assaulting our children. It's really that easy.
I don't even think that's wrong. What's the own here? Deep down, they all know something that we all know, which is that crap is weird.
What? Putting stuff up your bum is weird?
What's even the logic here? Is the logic here that if you dislike racist, you must be a racist? Like, how far do we take this?
They'll never answer that question. It's like, well, you hate kid lovers, don't you?
Yeah, you can take that to some dark places. And of course, they'll never recognize the absurd nature of it because it's only used as a weapon.
Yeah, if you hate Hitler, it's because you're Hitler. Yeah, dude.
Weapon to beat you into submission and no more. That's all this is. That's all it's ever been. And I think the end game is very clear. And you can see it even in the movie. Harold eventually approving of Shrek and even sacrificing his life to save him from Fairy Godmother is the writer's not so subtle way of telling you that the highest good that one can attain is to sacrifice your life, country, happiness, and even your own family for the sake of an outsider, even if he's a blight on your society and is actively ruining it.
Nothing Shrek is doing in this movie benefits King Harold. It actively hurts him in many ways, and yet by the end of the film, we're told King Harold's penance and redemption for the mistake he made of making the deal with Fairy Godmother is to take a bullet for Shrek. Another point to look at here is that Shrek being himself is why he is so despised and far, far away, and justifiably so.
Right. When you make no attempt to reform your behavior around the people that you're around and to assimilate to their culture and manner of living, what do you think's gonna happen?
It really is just, oh my God, dude. Shrek really is that everybody else around me needs to change, not me who needs to change to fit in with everybody else. It's another thing glorifying not integrating properly into society, which is an issue that's run rampant in the United States for, I mean, probably like, 160 years?
King Harold, his disapproval of Shrek is depicted as unreasonable, yet consider this. Harold and Lillian handpicked Prince Charming for Fiona to marry, and Shrek unknowingly ruined all those plans. Furthermore, Shrek is validating Fiona's antisocial behavior and undermining the values given to her by her parents. And most importantly, Fiona sharing true love's kiss with Shrek means that her curse is now permanent. Like, this is the worst case scenario for her parents, and yet we're told that they just need to accept it.
Right. Like, why would they be happy about this? Why would they accept this? Because, I mean, at the core of all of these characters, Harold, Lily, and Fiona, their motivation as characters can essentially be boiled down to desiring to see the curse dispelled. Yet Shrek comes along and makes it permanent.
What parents in their right mind would want to see their daughter turned into a different species? When I look at King Harold in this movie, he really is just a vehicle for them to spell out to you that we're all outsiders and should all accept each other 100% no matter how we behave. And him being a fairy tale creature himself is just the icing on top.
You know what's one thing that I will never be tolerant of in America? These fucking dipshits who have their signs written in other languages besides English. I am okay if you have the sign in English with a smaller version of a different language underneath. But having your signs in a different language other than the native language of the country drives me fucking insane. It is infuriating.
Well, he's not the only one that hates
Or other people's flags in our country. What are we doing?
Shrek for who he is and for being himself. Fairy Godmother also hates Shrek. Now, like with King Harold, Shrek unintentionally foils Fairy Godmother's plans for her future and for her son. But Fairy Godmother's operating from a very reasonable perspective in which she says ogres don't live happily ever after. It's not just blind hatred that's informing that. Because whenever Shrek comes to her in the middle of the movie, she comes out and says to Shrek that she thinks Fiona isn't happy because she's with an ogre and not with Prince Charming. Now, think whatever you will about Fairy Godmother, but she uses the evidence available to her to reinforce her disdain for Shrek and his goals. I mean, she reads through these various fairy tale books and comes to the conclusion based on this information that ogres don't live happily ever after. Meaning, her hatred for Shrek isn't blind hatred, it's based off the present information that she has available to her. So she draws a very reasonable conclusion and does not want him interfering and dislikes him. And more than just hating him for who he is, Fairy Godmother has every right to hate Shrek for what he does. I mean, consider what Shrek does to this woman. Shrek trespasses into Fairy Godmother's factory, steals from her, vandalizes her property, turns her workers into birds. And you may say, oh, well, Shrek's justified in doing this, but Shrek had no idea that Fairy Godmother was the one who had Harold hire Puss in Boots to kill him. And he doesn't know any of that when he vandalizes her factory.
Well, and furthermore, the disguise that he and Donkey and Puss use to sneak in is that they're there like almost like a unit.
Yeah, but these people who come into our country and destroy our properties for their protests, it's actually a good thing.
Union to fight for the
it's a good
workers
thing,
who
guys.
are clearly exploited, and he's so careless. He turns them into birds, likely ruining their lives, which are already not great. And the film just plays it as like, ah, haha, Shrek, you silly rascal. You destroyed a factory.
Wow, you destroyed all these people's lives, Lamau. But it's okay because we need to learn that ugly, violent people are actually based.
And ruined a bunch of people's lives.
Well, that's one of the consistent themes you see throughout really the entire series that is Shrek. Is Shrek's happily ever after comes at the cost of everyone else's.
Yep.
And the movie somehow paints him as a hero for it.
True.
Oh, and it only gets worse in Shrek 3. The citizens of Far, Far Away also aren't huge fans of Shrek, and it makes perfect sense. He's an ogre, so it stands to reason they wouldn't exactly be thrilled about him marrying the princess of their kingdom and turning her into an ogre too. But somehow, magically, they are all okay with Shrek after Fairy Godmother's death. And even worse, after Harold takes a magical bullet for Shrek, they find out their king is a literal frog, and the townspeople are all perfectly fine with it. No objections. This really feels like subtle reinforcement that quote-unquote good people have a responsibility to accept others, even when they have to pay an insane amount of tax dollars just to keep the leering sinners open.
Like with the first movie, somehow Shrek has the gall to be offended when everyone hates him, not only because of his nature, but also because of his actions. Because his actions reinforce his nature. And Shrek is hated because of his nature. And for good reason, too. He's an ogre. What do we expect? Like, in the movie, the people scowl at Shrek when they first see that he's an ogre. And Harold even says it is in his nature to be a bit of a brute. And even Fairy Godmother herself would say ogres don't live happily ever after. Which, again, all of this is evidenced by the information you have within the movie. People recognize ogres are what they are. But then, Shrek confirms what people think about his nature by showing people who he really is. So in other words, his actions only confirm his nature and show that he isn't one of the good ones.
He's an ogre with a soft A.
You're behaving like a...
Go on, say it.
like an...
You know what stood out to me like crazy watching this back for the first time in quite a while? In the very first scene where we see Shrek and Fiona on their honeymoon, in a 1 minute span, they vandalize the house that they're staying in. Fiona feeds a mermaid to sharks just because she was unlucky enough to wash up on shore into Shrek's arms.
Yep.
And Shrek sticks a bunch of fairies in glass jars just to put them through one of the gnarliest Dutch ovens ever, created by him and Fiona's farts. In the opening minutes, they show that they are indeed ogres and
Yeah, can we acknowledge that what they're doing together is just fucking disgusting? By the way, fellas, never let your chick get fully comfortable with farting in front of you. You can't do it, bro. You can't. You cannot do it, okay? You must try your best to keep your lady a lady. Otherwise, it's going to cause issues, bro. It will. It's going to cause issues.
be judged.
And again, it reinforces the idea that Shrek is destroying Fiona's upbringing. Ogres are exactly what people think they are. But on top of that, like...
Nah, I fart with my bitch. No, bro. I'm telling you, bro. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get so comfortable that you're okay with being gross around each other. You don't want to normalize the fact where both of y'all dressed like shit because you're just around each other. You don't want to normalize how you don't get ready for each other in the morning and you only get ready for other people. I'm telling you, if you have this in your relationship, it is going to be a problem. The person who you should be looking the best for is your partner. The person who you should be the best behaved for is your partner. The person who you should take care of yourself the most for is your partner. If your partner only puts on makeup to go outside, only tries when they go outside, I'm sorry, bro. That is not a good precedent to have for you and your partner. You should be trying for your girl, and your girl should be trying for you. My opinion, you live your life, but I warned you. You do not want to get into the phase where all y'all do is be fat, eat shit, and walk around in onesies together. You do not want that to happen. You don't. I warned you. You can think that I'm wrong right now. I'm trying to help you. Shouldn't you be 100% comfortable with your partner? Being comfortable with your partner isn't the same as being lazy, disgusting fucks together. Very big difference. I'm not going to go and tell my partner, hey, bro, come look at my shit, right? I'm not going to like cover them in blankets and fart in their fucking face. Like, have a little, like, once again, I fart. I'm not going to lie, I do fart, right? But I only do it if I just legit can't hold it in anymore. If I can just wait a second, step outside, rip ass, then get back inside, I'm going to do that because I want to have the best version of myself for the woman who I believe is the best person for me. And I'm telling you, the longer you can hold that, the better the sex is going to be, the more the romance is going to be. But you can ignore me if you want. That's okay. I'm trying to help you.
We spoke about earlier. Everything he does at Fairy Godmother's factory is bad, whether it's lying, vandalism, theft, assault, you name it. And this retard even has the gall to drink a potion that he thinks will permanently alter himself and Fiona without even reading the warning label. In addition to all that, Shrek is totally okay letting Fiona get horribly bamboozled until he uncovers the conspiracy to magically
You're thinking it's a 10 issue when it's a 6? Tia Morte, let me guess. You're in a relationship with a girl who farts on you. Are you in a relationship with a farter? Not on me? And there it is! Your ass is getting emotional because you know I'm calling your ass out. Now shut up, pussy. Stop being so insecure and tell your chick to stop farting in front of you. We got him again. Now, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. And just say, hey, babe, maybe we stop farting so much around each other and maybe we just dress a little bit better. Sir, yes, sir. Love you, buddy. All right, we're back.
force her to fall in love with Prince Charming. Like, throughout these movies, Shrek continues to reinforce that ogres do not have layers. Because what do you get when you peel back the layers of an onion? All you get is more onion. And the same is true with ogres. They aren't deep, they aren't profound, they're exactly what we think they are.
Yeah. Kind of crazy that that was like the most famous line of Shrek 1, when every layer of an onion is just as stinky as the last and looks the exact same.
But it just shows you, like, the entire purpose of movie number 1, and even a lot of the other movies, it's don't believe your lying eyes. Whenever you have ogres or even immigrants who come into your society and are wreaking havoc, just don't notice the bad stuff that they do. Is that not the message of these films?
Another thing I want to look at in Shrek 2 is the consistent normalization of degenerate behavior. There's a lot of oddly sexual content in this for a children's movie. Like we mentioned earlier, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the executive producer, he had a reputation for pushing the envelope when it comes to morality, even in movies themed more for kids.
I'm telling you, if you want a perfect animated film, watch the second Puss in Boots movie. Fucking incredible.
Well, and keep in mind some of the things that Katzenberg has been doing outside of the film industry. Katzenberg has been funding crap like the GSLEN for a long time. Now that stands for Gay, Straight, Lesbian Education Network. This organization works with schools to teach them to be more tolerant of this degeneracy.
And can I translate what that actually means? When you say teaching not to hate, it means putting them on a pedestal and accepting them as they are.
There's a difference between teaching tolerance and accepting and being like, okay, just ignore them, it's fine, versus saying, actually being gay is the coolest thing ever. Because you're going to brainwash kids into wanting to be popular. They know what they're doing.
Just like Shrek, flaws and all, and never holding them to account for horrible behavior. I think that very point explains a lot of the nonsense you see in this movie.
And there is a lot. Dude, did you catch that line that the fairy godmother uses? The first time the fairy godmother meets Fiona and she sings her song, she says,
They'll write your name on the bathroom wall.
For a happy ever after, give Fiona a call.
I did not even pick that up, but man, how fitting.
I'm telling you.
Wait, what?
She sings her song, she says,
They'll write your name on the bathroom wall.
For a happy ever after, give Fiona a call.
I did not.
Oh, like she'll jerk you off in the bathroom? Oh, that's insane. What the fuck?
I'd even pick that up, but man, how fitting.
That's I never noticed that
Dude,
either.
This stuff's bad.
They choose to use the words gender-confused wolf to describe the wolf that is dressed in women's clothing that Charming finds when he goes to rescue Fiona.
Oh, and speaking of people being dressed in women's clothing, for whatever reason, they thought it was appropriate to put Pinocchio in a thong.
And that's one of those that I remember even as a kid, I always thought that one was super weird and out of place, and it hits even worse now.
Oh, yeah. What is the purpose of this? And you can say it's a funny joke, but jokes are often the medium that people use to desensitize you to more nefarious things.
True.
Well, and to that point, we see by a picture in the deleted scenes of the DVD of Shrek 2 that the fairy godmother helps the ugly stepsister transition.
Also, keep in mind, you can see this in the actual film itself. You don't even have to have the DVD. Like, whenever
You guys aren't going to pick up on this, but I will. I know these two are based because they're using Dave the Diver background music for their video. Shout outs. One of the greatest indie games of all time.
watch it, you can see right outside the room where she's crafting the potions, there's a before and after picture of the ugly stepsister, where you see this happen.
Which confirms that he transitioned to a woman in the film's universe. And what's even crazier, this Troon, the ugly stepsister, goes on to force himself onto Prince Charming.
Yes, he does.
Immediately after Charming's mother gets killed.
And they say it's a good thing that Prince Charming gets raped by a tranny.
And they play this like it's for laughs. And this is becoming all too common in a lot of media where as long as the target is a straight white male, everyone's allowed to laugh at his misfortune, even when he's not deserving of it. I can already hear people now saying, dude, it's a freaking joke in a kid's movie. But what comes to my mind are these things that we thought were so innocent back in the day.
And now look at the fucking media. Look at how everybody talks about white people. Nobody gives a fuck when a white person's killed. Every other race, they lose their mind. People have been conditioned to not give a fuck about straight white males. It's actually insane. It is actually crazy.
Like, say a Mrs. Doubtfire. It's like, oh, you know, a man dressing in woman's clothing, he's not supposed to do that. Oh, that's funny. We can all have a laugh, surely. But that's where they start, and they keep putting more in, push the line, until we're such boiled frogs that we don't even notice that which used to be clearly a joke.
That's crazy, bro. I'm sorry. That's fucking insane. Is that not fucking crazy?
Is now being taken seriously. And I'm gonna go real schizo for this last point, but it's got to be said. It is not lost on me that there are 3 separate examples of species mixing in this film. Shrek and Fiona, because remember, Fiona at her core is a human, and even in the first film, when Shrek got with Fiona, they didn't know how the curse worked, so for all they knew, she was going to stay human. You have Harold and Lillian. Again, Harold is a frog, Lillian's a human, and last but not least, Donkey and Dragon. And in that last case, it results in little mutant freak babies. When it comes to this subtle miscegenation propaganda in media, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But fool me 3 times, and I'm starting to see the Star of David when I close my eyes.
My spidey senses are tingling. It also doesn't help that a lot of the men in this film are really weak and exist only to be led by the women. The entire conflict of this movie could have simply been avoided if Shrek had only nutted up and refused to listen to Fiona.
Disrespect them women! Subjugate those hoes!
And they also make Shrek a bit of a cuck in this movie. In the first movie, he risked his life to break up the wedding, killed Farquaad, and destroyed Duloc in the process of getting with Fiona. And in Shrek 2, he just immediately accepts another man taking her as his wife because he sees Fiona hug Prince Charming one time. And the justification is knowing, or at least thinking, that she'll be happier with him.
Absolutely loser-ass behavior, bro.
By the way, it was Fairy Godmother that gaslit him into believing this, despite him knowing that she hates him. Why would you ever believe any of this? Shrek's a retard in this movie.
And where was this energy with my short king
in this movie?
Farquaad, man. You didn't stop to say maybe she'll be happier with a literal king in a perfect kingdom with no problems? No.
True.
Surely I've got to break this up. But Prince Charming giving her a little side hug. Oh, I'm out. She can have him.
And it also bothers me that Harold eventually comes to accept Shrek because Fiona loves him and Lillian's also nagging him throughout the whole movie. Like, Lillian is the perfect modern liberal white woman. She is more than happy to die for the minorities that care nothing about her and want to replace her, and she thinks she's making a difference. And it all just goes to show, man, Harold never should have accepted Shrek. Like, Shrek correctly asserts that, like it or not, he's an ogre and he's not changing. And keep in mind that because of this decision to allow Shrek to stay and to accept him, that eventually ends up in the third movie with a quote-unquote massive loser eventually going on to become king. And by the way, Artie in the third movie never stops being a massive loser. He just identifies as not a loser and the movie calls it a day.
Harold's entire character feels like a caricature that you see in a lot of media, and this goes way back. He's like that classic sitcom dad that's dumb, lazy, and really only succeeded because he married a strong liberal woman that kept him in line. And of course, they went right back to the well with the short monarch trope again. Like, oh, Harold's got to be compensating for something.
Never mind that the guy who kept making that joke in Shrek 1, Jeffrey Katzenberg, is 5'6". Can't make it up, dude.
And to that same point, all of Prince Charming's agency is removed from him because of his overbearing mother. He does have some brief moments where his inner Chad comes out, but a lot of his masculine instincts are always suppressed by his overbearing mother. And when you think of all the men in this film, imagine what they could have been if they freed themselves from these destructive feminine fantasies. Shrek would still be happy living his days out in the swamp. Harold could have freed himself from his debt to Fairy Godmother and not had ogre grandbabies. And Prince Charming might become a man worthy of the crown if only his mom would take him off puberty blockers.
But to wrap this thing up, I kind of feel like we're coming back full circle here, which is where we ended the last video, which is that Farquaad Chads stay winning, dude. Fairy Godmother, Shrek, and Harold are all fairy tale creatures, and basically all of them cause all of the problems you see in Far, Far Away, which further vindicates Farquaad's position about them in the first movie. Farquaad was right about the outsiders.
Yes,
they belong outside, where they can't destroy or corrupt your perfect society.
And it's also crazy because fairy tale creatures are only 13% of the population, yet are committing 60% of the violent crimes in Duloc. Another based fucking videos by these two absolute giga chads. Love that fucking channel.